Right now at 10, a Joplin officer shoots a suspect after that person assaulted another police officer. We'll tell you what happened. Plus, the Joplin Major Crash Team is investigating a serious crash near the airport. Also, a shooting at a car show in Arkansas leaves one person dead and dozens injured. And nearly a month into Russia's war on Ukraine, Russian forces continue to tighten their grip on the port city of Mariupol with more devastating attacks. You're watching the KOAM News at 10, and it starts right now. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Chris Warner. Breaking overnight, a Joplin police officer is assaulted by a suspect, and another officer opens fire, injuring the suspect. According to Captain Trevor Duncan with JPD, just before 11:30 last night, officers checked on 3 people who were walking near 9th and Connor in the alley. When officers made contact, one of those people took off running, and an officer chased after them. That person then assaulted the officer, and another officer fired, shooting the suspect. The suspect was taken into custody and is being treated at a local hospital. The officer who fired is on paid administrative leave per JPD policy. The suspect's name and the officer who's fired, their names are not being released at this time. The officer who was assaulted was treated and released at the scene. Their name is also not being released at this time. Joplin Police Department's Major Crash Team is investigating a serious crash near the Joplin Airport. Officials say around 3 this morning, a car traveling west on MacArthur Drive out of Webb City left the right side of the road and crashed into the concrete base of a traffic signal at St. Louis and Highway 171. The driver of the car, a 50-year-old woman, was transported to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. Officials say she was not wearing her seatbelt. There were no other people in the car. Police say at least one person was killed and another 24 injured in a shooting outside a car show in Arkansas. It happened last night in Dumas, a city about 75 miles southeast of Little Rock. Investigators say the gunfire erupted during a car show, which was a fundraiser for local schools. Children were at this car show, but police have not said if any of them were hurt. One person is in custody, though there are reports that there were multiple shooters involved. Beautiful spring-like weather today. Nick Kelly joining us.
Yeah, certainly felt like it with warm temperatures this afternoon, Chris, and hopefully we all had a chance to enjoy it because starting tomorrow, big changes in the weather setup on the way. But the last look we have from 7th and Rangeline showed a pretty nice and quiet night. But 36, a downright cold start this morning again, upper 30s to lower 40s elsewhere. And then a high of 78 degrees. Nowhere near a record, thankfully, but certainly warmer than our normal high of 61 degrees. We kept these quiet throughout the day, but not only are we picking up a little bit of building cloud cover across parts of the area, we've got plenty of cloud cover eager to work in from the west. That's ahead of our next cold front, which still set to arrive on schedule tomorrow with not only increasing clouds through the overnight, but rain chances picking up throughout the day. As far as temperatures go, we'll drop back mainly into the lower 50s overnight. Joplin, for example, around 53. Then once we get past late morning going into the afternoon, Chris, let's plan on rain and thunderstorm chances ramping up with temperatures this time around only topping out in the lower to middle 60s. We'll see what this first wave of rain will do for us and what else lies ahead here in a bit.
Nick, thank you. And as Nick just alluded to, today was a beautiful day to drag yourself down to the Mocan Dragway. Mocan held their 10th annual Hot Rod Reunion and Swap Meet. Around 150 cars lined up to race and make their way to the top.
Today we're running our spring Hot Rod Reunion. It's a nostalgia drag race, car show, and swap meet. We do one of these in the spring and one in the fall. They're very popular here at Mocan.
Now, Mocan opened up in 1962 and will be having a special race in July to celebrate their 60th anniversary. Tommy Hawks hosted a second fundraiser for Seneca High School seniors. Parents put together this event to raise money for Project Graduation. Along with an axe throwing competition, there was a silent auction, cornhole competition, and box lunches. All proceeds will go toward the night of graduation for the Seneca seniors to enjoy one last time together before they leave high school.
What we're raising money for is Project Graduation, which is an event that's held the evening after the day of graduation in the evening, and it's to provide our kids a safe place to spend like one last night together.
This is Tommy Hawk's second year to help raise money for Project Graduation. Nearly a month into Russia's war on Ukraine, Russian forces continue to tighten their grip on the port city of Mariupol with more devastating attacks, including one on an art school that was said to be housing several hundred people. Around the country, Ukrainians continue to defend the nation and hold back Russian ground forces in major cities, including the capital, Kyiv. CBS News correspondent Tom Hansen has the latest from New York.
Rescuers search for survivors at a Ukrainian Marine barracks destroyed in an apparent rocket attack. While Russia is also bombarding civilian sites nationwide, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky tells CNN he remains ready to negotiate.
But if these attempts fail, that would mean that this is a third world war.
Ukrainian authorities say more devastation came to Mariupol after Russian forces bombed an art school where some 400 residents had taken shelter. Last week, Russia blew apart this theater housing civilians, even with the word children written outside the structure in Russian. Some survivors have been pulled from the rubble. The U.S. and other Western nations have expressed concern Russia may use a biological or chemical weapon, then blame it on Ukraine.
I think if a chemical or biological weapon was used, you'd see a significant reaction from not only the United States, but also the global community.
China's ambassador to the U.S. was asked about President Biden's warning to Chinese leader Xi Jinping against aiding the Russian war effort.
Are you saying Beijing will not provide financial support to Moscow to prolong this war?
China has normal trade, economic, financial, energy cooperations with Russia.
President Biden is planning to travel to Brussels this week for a summit with other NATO leaders. Tom Hansen, CBS News.
Russia's defense ministry said Sunday that it used a second hypersonic missile in the war, this time hitting a Ukrainian fuel depot near the Black Sea. The weapon can hit targets more than 1,200 miles away at 10 times the speed of sound. We take this time now to honor one of our many four-state heroes. Corporal Matthew Day served in the Army during World War II and took part in D-Day and the Battle of the Bulge. His hometown, Baxter Springs. We're proud to recognize Corporal Matthew Day, tonight's four-state hero. And of course, if you'd like to learn more about our other heroes, or if you've got one of your own you'd like to nominate, you can do that over at KOAMNewsNow.com. Still ahead, a newspaper reporter is shot and killed outside a bar in Virginia. A newspaper in Virginia discovers one of its reporters was shot dead when they tried to reach her to cover the shooting. It happened Saturday morning outside Chico's Pizza backstage in Norfolk. Reporter Sierra Jenkins was one of two people killed. The Virginian Pilot newspaper repeatedly tried to reach Jenkins to cover the shooting, but was unable to do so. Bartenders say the shooting happened as customers were leaving following last call. Norfolk police have not said whether they've identified any suspects. Jenkins and a second person who was killed, Devin Harris, were both 25 years old. 3 other people were injured. Dallas police are investigating a drive-by shooting that left 1 person dead and 10 injured early Sunday. Investigators say the shooting took place outside a party venue called The Space on the city's south side. Dallas police described it as a high school-style party involving a number of young people. The youngest victim was reported to be 14. One person was working security at the venue believes the suspects became angry when they were not allowed to bring weapons inside. Dallas police say it's still an active investigation and won't say if they have any suspects or have made any arrests at this time. 3 people were injured in a shooting just after midnight Sunday on Miami Beach's Ocean Drive. Mitch Novick, the owner of the Sherbrooke Hotel in South Beach, captured this video of the spring break crowd reacting to gunfire. Novick says the streets were crowded with spring break tourists when the shots rang out. While many were running from the gunfire, Novick says he witnessed heroism by police officers who ran toward it. Later, Novick says he witnessed officers surrounding a male suspect with guns drawn. Miami Beach police have not said whether the suspect was connected to the shooting or if he was taken into custody. Later on the KOAM News at 10, while The Dark Knight continues to dominate at the box office, There's a couple of new movies out there. We're going to take a look at the weekend box office numbers.
Plus, again, I hope you enjoyed the nice and mild, make that warm into the weekend, because we got rain chances, plenty of them to talk about when we come back. Our first day of spring was not bad, certainly not bad as well to wrap up this weekend. In fact, let's look at the numbers because they're certainly telling quite the story over the past 36 hours, even though we didn't have any active weather, at least from the skies above. Again, the temperatures went into the mid to upper 60s yesterday afternoon. That certainly felt nice. A little cold for some, mid to upper 30s, maybe some lower 40s this morning, but everybody catapulted into the mid to upper 70s today. That's because we had plenty of sunshine once again, a strong south wind and dry air in place. Unfortunately, that's also what led to red flag warnings for our corners of Kansas and Missouri from noon until about 8 o'clock this evening. Fortunately, those warnings have fallen by the wayside. We're not seeing anything on the radar network right now. I say right now because even though we kept quiet throughout the day, we're seeing cloud cover starting to ramp up, especially out to the west. That is hinting at our next storm system, ready to roll right on in and shake things up as we get this new work week underway. 7th and range line, this view of the east side of Joplin has been quiet all day long, all evening long, but we are going to see that view look quite a bit cloudier as we go into tomorrow morning. And fortunately, that's going to help us out with temperatures this go around because this morning, again, we had mid to upper 30s, some lower 40s out there to start the day. And temperatures just took off, mid to upper 70s all across the board. Most of us between 74 and 78 this afternoon. But with the increase in the clouds and that south wind building in, even before the top of the 10 o'clock hour, you can see how we're not going to drop off so much throughout the course of the night. Granted, before the top of the 10 o'clock hour, we had temperatures in the lower 60s, but with the south breeze lightening up at least a little bit at 5 to 15 miles per hour, we are going to have lows only drop back into the lower 50s before we hit sunrise and get your Monday morning commute to work underway. Now, let's break down the surface setup here. We enjoyed the high pressures company, keeping us quiet and warm today, windy too. Then our next focus, the cold front. It's out in the Rockies, but it was no time working closer to the region tomorrow. In addition, this upper level low coming out of Arizona. That will aid in not only the cloud cover ramping up throughout the course of the overnight, but the rain chances to come as we work throughout the day tomorrow. At least we're dry for tonight and going into tomorrow morning. Overnight lows, fortunately, only in the lower 50s this go around. But once we get past 10 a.m., you can see by the noon hour, the future track wants to show some scattered showers, maybe a couple thunderstorms popping up. But look at the moisture really stacking up and really wanting to overspread the area with more widespread rain and thunderstorms. Nothing strong, but you can see by the returns, we could be looking at quite a bit of rainfall on the way. 53 in the morning, 65 for early afternoon highs, and then we'll drop back into the 50s to near 60 by about 4 o'clock in the afternoon as we deal with this first batch of hefty rain and thunderstorm chances. A break Tuesday morning, then maybe some additional rain and storms by Tuesday afternoon with the passing cold front. So just within the next 2 days alone, between an inch and potentially up to 2 inches of rain possible, something we'll keep an eye on. And another thing that we're still keeping an eye on is the colder air that will filter in as we get on the backside of the system for Wednesday. But we're still holding on to some moisture too. So mainly rain chances Wednesday and Thursday before this clears out. But still, we got to keep an eye out because any colder air aloft that could try to throw a few snowflakes our way. I still don't see it as a big deal, but it is something that we'll still watch within the next few days. 65 tomorrow, 63 on Tuesday, and on the backside of that system, Chris, the best we could do is lower the middle 40s for Wednesday and Thursday, but once it clears out, we spring back no problem. 64 on Friday, upper 50s and about mid-60s for the rest of next weekend.
Spring has truly sprung, and you can see we're in that transition period now, and I'm ready for it to be full-on spring here.
And I bet you're not the only one with that sentiment.
I think everybody's ready for it. Thank you so much. Coming up in sports, Southern baseball coming off an exciting win. Tragan Parker walked it off against Washburn on Saturday. Game 2 of the series is today. We've got those highlights. Plus, Pitt State softball aims for their 4th straight win. All that and more next.
This is the Toyota Sunday Night Sports Feed. Pitt State softball is at home this weekend, hosting Minnesota State and Sioux Falls. The Gorillas beat both teams on Saturday. Today they play each team one more time. In Game 1, Pitt State gets the W 5-2 over Minnesota State. The Gorillas score all 5 runs in the 3rd inning, including a 2-run home run by Madison Zemansky. Game 2, it's Pitt State against Sioux Falls. Gorillas extend their lead in the 3rd here. Taylor Lambert hits a solo shot out to right. Next batter, Josie Solano, makes it back-to-back home runs for the Gorillas. Still going in the 3rd, 2-on for Madison Zemansky. She launches this one out to center, 3-run home run, her 2nd homer of the day. Gorillas lead 7-1. Later, Paxton Hayes rips one up the first baseline. That's good for an RBI double. Pitt State goes on to win 12-5, that second game. Pitt State baseball closes out a series with Northeastern State today. They split the first 2 games. In the finale, this one is wild. Pitt State's Brett Daly hits a grand slam in the top of the 9th. That's enough to force an extra inning. Gorillas add one more in the 10th, but Northeastern State answers in the bottom with a walk-off grand slam. 17-13, the final. Missouri Southern is in the middle of a tough series with Washburn. The Lions took Game 1 of the series in walk-off fashion on Saturday. Another win today would clinch the series for the Lions. Down 1 in the 6th, Henry Kuziak gets a hit out to right field. Tyler Ferguson scores. Play's not over though. Kuziak going for home. It's an inside the park home run. Lions lead 3-2. Next inning, Tragan Parker knocks one through. RBI single. Case Tucker scores. 9th inning, not a good one for the Lions. They go through 3 pitching changes. Nobody can settle in. That's a 3-run home run for Washburn. Ichabods take a late lead 8-4. Down to their final 2 outs here, Cole Robinson gives the Lions some hope. With 2 on, he blasts his first home run of the year. It's a 1-run game, but that's how it ends. Washburn hangs on to win 8-7. Missouri Southern wraps up action at the Fairfield Classic today. Early start time for the Lions. Southern falls to Winona State 7-1 this morning. The Lions drop Game 2 as well, 9-7. Some bright spots from Game 2 though. Yasmin Vargas hits her first career home run. Josie Topai and Leighton Withers also homer in the game. Still ahead, KU hits the floor against Creighton in the 2nd round of the NCAA tournament. The Jayhawks are aiming to earn a spot in the Sweet 16. We've got the highlights after this. The madness continues this weekend with the 2nd round of the men's NCAA tournament underway. The number 1 seeded Jayhawks blew by their first round opponent. Then on Saturday, Kansas meets Creighton in the 2nd round. First half, Remy Martin, nice move, makes the mid-range shot. Team high 20 points off the bench from Martin. Later, Alex O'Connell throws the alley-oop to Arthur Kaluma. Foul is called. 2nd half, Jayhawks lead by 1. Ochai Abaji feeds Davis McCormick for the layup. Under 10 minutes to go here, Jalen Coleman lands, drains the 3. KU up by 9, but it's not over yet. Creighton hanging on. Trey Alexander hits the long 3. 3-point game. 1 minute to play. Abaji, huge steal. He goes all the way on the other end and slams it down. A close call, but Kansas pulls it off 79-72. The Jayhawks advance to the Sweet 16. Kansas will play 4-seeded Providence on Friday the 25th. Arkansas also played a 2nd round game on Saturday against New Mexico State. JD Notte all alone for the layup. He scores a game-high 18 points. Razorbacks up by 9 at the break. 2nd half, Johnny McCants takes the lane, throws down the dunk. McCants again makes the bucket and gets the foul. New Mexico State takes the lead. 6 minutes to play, Razorbacks are back on top. Devontae Davis feeds Adis Toney, one-handed jam. Less than 30 seconds here, Jabari Rice nails the corner 3, Aggies down 2. But Chris Likes makes the free throw to ice the game. Arkansas survives, winning 53-48. So the Razorbacks have earned a spot in the Sweet 16. Next game up, it will be a tough one. Arkansas faces number 1 seeded Gonzaga on Thursday. That's a look at sports. We're back after this.
The Dark Knight is still dominating the box office, but a couple of new movies made their mark this weekend. David Daniels got the early estimates for the top 5 films.
What is your deal, man?
Dog rode into 5th place in its 5th weekend in theaters, grossing $4.1 million. The slasher film X expanded to wide release and made $4.4 million for 4th place. Uncharted fell to 3rd, but collected $8 million for a domestic total of $126 million. The anime adventure Jujutsu Kaisen 0 debuted in 2nd place, opening strong with $17.7 million.
What are you saying, Kinsey Moon Knights for the Penguin?
The Batman crossed the 300 million mark in domestic grosses, topping the chart for a 3rd straight weekend with $36.8 million. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
We were just having some fun with our Batman impressions, just because.
It's just like they're always so close to me, and I'm just thinking, like, what cologne are you wearing?
I think it's a very nice one. We've got a final check of that.
These are just some of the funny, weird things that goes on in our heads sometimes.
We just have too much fun. And
that's all it is.
We had some time to have fun this weekend. Unfortunately, we're going to have to take a break from the fun.
Yeah, certainly with Mother Nature eager to ramp up our rain chances. A quick look at that 7-day has them really ramping up late tomorrow morning and certainly for tomorrow afternoon with highs near 65, 63 Tuesday. And as colder air filters down on the backside of the system, Chris, mainly rain, but we got to watch out for maybe a few snowflakes. We'll still keep an eye on that throughout the week.
Nick, thank you.
You're welcome.
That is our time for now. We're going to be back here next weekend and morning show at 5 a.m. Thanks for making us part of your night.